In this video, we'll be talking about how to plan your perfect day, perfect week, and hopefully a perfect year. Because a lot of us make a lot of goals week on week and month on month, and after some time they fall apart. So I just want to help you design your day, your week, and a year, just so that you can have some moments of pressure and some moments of performance as well. So to start with, let's take the perfect day. Now, all of us wake up, let's say by 6:30, we look for some stimulant. So you get a cup of tea, you have coffee. Some days of the week, you go on and have a smoothie, something which is healthier, so to say, but not that much of a stimulant. But if you can do this, have variety in the week, your gut becomes more stable. Also, of course, smoothies are more nutritive in nature, more vegetables. So it is good to have them once or twice a week. So in a way, get up in the morning, have something to stimulate yourself. The best thing, of course, also is water at that point, about 150, 200 ml. It does flush because you're dehydrated all night. So first step, something with water. Second step is, if you go for a workout, you might have a fruit. If you don't, you might directly head for breakfast. Now in breakfast, we typically tell people to have something with protein. Now it may be eggs if you're non-vegetarian, it may be something with curds and oats if that's your thing, or you might add a little protein in that in terms of a powder. If you're vegetarian, you might have something which is lentil based like dal chilas or idlis or whatever, but try to get some protein early in the morning. So 20-25 grams right off the bat. Add dry fruits to it, add a little protein powder to it, so you can go up to 30-40, which is hopefully half your day's requirement. It's very critical. Also add a little salt in whatever you're having, because if you're dehydrated and lacking salt by evening, it creates problems. So two things for breakfast: salt as well as protein is a must. Now somewhere by 11 o'clock we start feeling a little drowsy again, which is the drop-off effect. That time we need another stimulant plus a little energy. Nothing wrong with any fruit. Okay, so fruit along with maybe a citrus, maybe a pear, maybe anything, apple. Along with that, go for something like, again, a tea or coffee, preferably tea, because tea is a mood stabilizer, whereas coffee in that sense is a stimulant, and you may have already had one in the morning. So try for tea. Again, we always recommend to clean up the stimulant so there is minimal sugar and minimal dairy in it, but again, that's a preference. Then lunch, we get similar to dinner, which will basically be a spread of salad, vegetables, some lentil, which is again dal, or if you're having non-veg, which is that, or the vegetable. Go for something which is wholesome, which has all four food groups in it. So there should be some fiber, should be some protein, should be some vegetable which contains some or the other nutrient, and try and get some carbohydrate. Always keep it at 25%. This will prevent you from having a crash at around 3 o'clock. Now once you've had a little bit of a sort of spread lunch, you'll reach a point where around 4 o'clock again the sense of drowsiness comes. So this is again where some people don't prefer coffee because it tends to keep you awake. So you might have another cup of tea. Again, my suggestion, try to skip the sugar and milk as much as you can. Slowly by 5 o'clock, as you start heading out of office to grab another bite, look for lemon water with salt. It's very, very important because that tops up the salt. Otherwise you start craving something salted, which is typically salted snacks. Also carry a little bit of dry fruits, or you might have a little fruit wherever you are. No harm. Dry fruits are the best because they not only add fiber and protein and a lot of other polyunsaturated fatty acids, but they are very easy for storage. So keep them in your office drawer. Very useful at 5 o'clock. Now again, by the time you get home, water is something you should have completed at least 1.5 liters by now, especially if you have been out in the sun. At night, dinner should be almost the same as lunch. Now here, if you have fallen short of something in the day, you will overcompensate at night. So be a little careful that you keep optimizing that process so that at some point you make sure that you stabilize this lunch and dinner. Otherwise, there will always be less eating in the daytime and a heavy dinner. So try to get something which is stable. Dinner, try to be consistent, which is again the protein, try to make it a little more than the carbohydrate. But without carbs, I have seen a lot of people struggle to sleep. And they worry too much about the timing of the dinner. It frankly doesn't matter if your nutrition is topped up, you won't overeat. It's not that a 9 o'clock dinner is better for weight loss. It's just that if you keep overeating and undereating, that is the problem. You manage your calories well through the day, windows don't really matter after a point. So I hope this is a perfect day. I hope this kind of makes sense to you. Now let's talk about a perfect week. For me, the first 4 days is where you should top up your nutrition right off the bat. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you must ensure that you get your protein, your micronutrients, your calcium, iron, B12. Just take your supplements, load up, try to reduce outside food because you'll be busy, focused on work. So try not to eat too much junk in these days. Like I said, the earlier perfect days, these should be with you in this sense. Try and get a couple of workouts. If you can just get a few walks in, maybe 1 or 2 sessions of light weight training, it's good enough to start with. Somewhere by the time you reach Friday and Saturday, the weekend mindset starts coming. First thing you ask yourself, what am I deficient in? What have I not had this week? Has it been my lime water? Has it been my protein intake? Has it been my multivitamins? Top them up before the weekend. Because going in there, I hope that you learn to do long workouts on Saturdays and Sundays, because we may not get time on weekdays. Just like foreign cultures do, they always have top-loaded weekends. So go ahead, nutrition top-load the first half of the week. Exercise is always the bottom half. So make sure after you do your workouts on the weekend, you can open up the floodgates to eat more calories. The problem is if you're already nutrient deficient into Saturday and Sunday, you'll wake up late, you won't be able to exercise, and then you'll keep eating junk to compensate. Moral of the story, Monday to Thursday, nutrition is the focus. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, exercise is the focus. Stitch week after week after week and you'll see magic in about 6 months. Now let's talk about a perfect year. This is something which is very fascinating. You look at professional athletes. They always take certain time of the year called an off season. We people who are recreational athletes never have an off season. We just train, or we attempt to train and diet 365 days, which is why we land up nowhere. They have performance phases, they have off season, and they have a middle phase. Now, we can also do that. Let's say January, February, March, you put your head down into the diet. You say, I'm going to lose 10% of body fat. All you got to do here is cut down SOS, salt, oil, and sugar. So just don't eat any sugar these 3 months. Just let go of anything refined. Be careful with processed foods. Preferably avoid going out too much. Stay indoors. Focus on diet as much as you can these 3 months. Drink your smoothies, get your multivitamins. Just focus on yourself. You will lose. You don't have to exercise much in this phase. Just a few walks, light gym, it's fine. But diet is where is king for the first 3 months. After that, you have a 6-month phase where the vacation time, you travel, you head out of home, you explore more of the world, you might travel for work. All of it is there. Make space for this in these 6 months. Go ahead, but do a little more exercise, little more. Your consistency with exercise should be everywhere. You cannot go 3 days without a training session. So my suggestion to participants is this April to September is where you ensure that you get some or the other exercise almost every alternate day, and decent exercise. Maybe half an hour walk, maybe a 45-minute gym session, maybe a little yoga. So look for structured exercise here. In addition, you can cut a little loose on the diet, but have a nutrient focus. Get your multivitamins, always get your protein. Be careful with this. Other than that, you might let yourself a little go and you will gain some weight. Maybe you'll gain about 5-7% of body weight. It's fine, especially if you're above 40. Last comes the main 3 months now. This is October, November, December. This is where it's also the festival season, but there are more holidays here. This is the time you get into performance mindset with the body. Not with the food. The food, you will increase your calorie intake substantially to meet the festival as well as to meet your energy needs for training. So run that marathon now. Plan for all your extraneous activities, real strain here, because here you need to load calories and train. But these 3 months are for you to set personal best. The weather is great. Go for gold here, because come January, you will again reduce the training mileage, go back to sensible eating and cut down. So you must have these 3 phases in a year. I've done these for the last 5 years and I'm far healthier than I used to be when I used to try to train all year round. So I hope this day, week and yearly approach is helpful to you. All the best.